Hi everybody, I'm Tony E at Show IP Interface Brief, and it is 12:30 in the morning, wrapping up day 44 of the 100 Days of Labbing Journey. I was going to say this is day 44, but I guess technically we've entered day 45. Anyhow, tonight I wanted to, for the past few nights, I had been working QoS and been doing a lot of reading. And what I felt like I was doing was getting away from doing labs and integrating technologies together. So tonight I just wanted to spin up a lab of my own. So I used one of my favorite topologies that I built, which is, I call it the 6-shooter. I've showed it on stream many times. It is 6 routers and 3 switches with dual links in between all of the components here. And it's really flexible. Something that I mentioned before was when I was starting my CCNA work a few years ago, whenever there was a sample topology that we had to work with, in my mind at the time, it was very hard for me to imagine a physical topology being anything else but the physical topology. For example, a router connected to a switch, connected to another router, that all these things had to both logically and physically be connected and aligned with each other. And it wasn't until I got more and more hands-on in the field and actually doing real networking and design and implementation where you just kind of like take the idea of however it's physically cabled and throw it out. At least on a lot of the projects that I work on, whatever you're logically doing is not representative of how it's physically cabled, and that's that holds true with my own topologies. It's not unlike also a lot of the lab topologies that you will see from vendors like INE and Narbic, and I'm sure any of the other vendors that have lab topologies. I think the most efficient way to do it is to build a single topology that lends itself to many logical topologies, and that's what I do here. So all the time I'm using this topology, and it's available from the public Dropbox, which is down in the description below. I've built it using the IOL and the VIOS platforms, so whichever image you're comfortable with, I have the topology available. And if I don't have it available in the Dropbox for you and you're interested in it, just drop me a comment below and I'll make sure I update the Dropbox folder with it. Anyhow, I think what I wanted to do was actually kind of draw the logical topology of what I was trying to build tonight. Now, I didn't get done my own lab, so I wanted to set out to use my topology to build a lab of my own design, which I do from time to time, just so I can go back and sort of integrate a lot of technologies together in a single lab, because I think I've gotten away from that. I've been doing troubleshooting labs recently, and that's actually pulled me away from configuration. And I'm actually really happy I did this lab tonight, or rather attempted to complete this lab tonight, because I got to see that although I'm pretty sharp on the commands still, it's taken me a while to actually get the basics down. I mean, I've been at this for quite a while, and I just finished my entire layer 2 and IP address schema. So, for example, let's see if I have my notes here. I try to make this as realistic as I can, similar to how, like I said, any one of the CCIE lab vendors treats their labs. So I try to give myself real requirements, even though I'm building my own lab. I try to set requirements sort of as I go. So I have an idea in my mind, what I want to do, and then I just configure it, and then I come back and I sort of retroactively build a requirement based around that. That's just how I do it. So like I said, I just finished layer 2 and IP addressing. So I haven't even started routing protocols or DMVPN. I didn't do MPLS. I didn't do multi-protocol BGP. I didn't do a lot of things yet. So the point that was gained here tonight was, because I haven't done configuration in a while, even though I said I'm sharp on the commands, I'm not that sharp actually. My tools have become dulled, And it's important, I think, that we always try to loop in a large configuration lab that integrates technologies, right? Just because you can configure router OSPF doesn't necessarily mean that you know all of the intricacies of deploying it over a DMVPN architecture, or split OSPF between customer sites in multi-protocol BGP. So I think tomorrow I'm going to try and work on this lab some more. God, I have so many things that I want to lab, so many things that I want to do, because Sunday we are going to do the troubleshooting lab number 3, which actually tomorrow night I need to spend some time setting that up, putting the configs in, building the templates, and getting everything ready. And normally that's going to take an hour or two. I still need the lab. I still need to study my QoS. There is so much to learn and do. And I just checked, and today is day 44, and I'm pretty nervous. I am pretty nervous about the idea of being halfway done. I guess looking back, I've learned a great deal, but looking forward, there's so much more to learn. I don't know how I can do it in 50 days. I have no clue. I have no clue. Yeah, so that's what I have so far. Oh, and I wanted to try and kind of draw this topology in case anyone is curious, or wants to play along, or wants to make a specific request or something. Also, it just might be a good exercise for myself to go ahead and draw this out. So let's do get my markers ready, my whiteboard ready. And I kind of have it on paper here, actually, so I'll go ahead and throw myself down here. So I kind of want to make 2 drawings. One of them would be like the layer 2 drawing. So if we have our 3 switches here, and this is a switch 1, switch 2, switch 3. These each have dual links, and this is going to be LACP. This is going to be PAGP. And what else did I do? This is going to be your VTP, VTP, V3 server, and I gave a password also, and I gave a domain. And what else? This is also going to be the spanning tree root bridge for all VLANs. Switch 3 is. And I don't think there was much more about that for layer 2. Some additional restrictions of, out on top here are our routers, at each end are routers, and I just specified that these links are trunk links, trunk link, and then all of these are trunk links as well, and that only the necessary VLANs should traverse the trunk links. You'll notice I paid no mind to these links. I'm just going to leave those alone. Actually, I'm thinking about maybe making both of them trunks, let it spanning tree take over and shut one down, just to sort of have that backup link. I'm going to go ahead and save this while I'm here. This is day 44. I'll throw it in here. I'll call it layer 2. This will be in the Dropbox for day 44. And what else? And then I went ahead and did the layer 3. So my idea was to have router 1, router 2, router 3, router 4. This is a DMVPN cloud. The back end off of each of these routers is a LAN segment. Router 1 is connected to R5. R5 is connected to R3 and R4. And R1 is connected to R6. And R6 is connected to R2. So you'll notice actually I have, for example, I have router 3 and I have router 3. in two places, and that's fine. It can exist that way. I'm just going to make sure that the protocols don't overlap each other, and I think we can make this work. And if I have to, I'll go ahead and throw some interfaces in a VRF and be done with it. So this is my topology. This is the topology, the logical topology, and it's sort of not all the way complete yet, that rides over top of this physical. So being able to, I think one of the things that has made my studies more efficient, and for anyone else who's doing a 100 days of labbing journey, there's a lot to keep up with. Definitely try to develop the most efficient methods you can, is my only word of advice. And that goes for anyone who tries to do repeated labbing over and over and over. Try to build a topology that can be flexible enough that you can do so much with it. And I think of a lot of folks out there are doing that, and that's really awesome. I didn't start out that way. I started off building a new topology every night, and that was painful. So anyhow, a couple of the details to drop in here is going to be router 6 and 5 is going to be multi-protocol BGP. I think we're going to do PPPoE under here. This is going to be a DMVPN. DMVPN, this is going to be an IPv4 underlay and an IPv4 and v6 overlays. For the DMVPN, we were going to do EIGRP. This is just sort of how I, when I build labs myself. Early on in my journey, I used to build a lot of the labs and show them on stream, and folks would ask me, how do you come up with your labs? Where do you get your topologies from? And really, I just start like this. I just start with a whiteboard, and I just start drawing stuff together. And I just start layering technologies on top of each other just to see if I can make them work, just to see if I understand the intricacies of it, just to see how it operates. I just kind of want to see, how's this going to work? How's something else going to work? Okay, so if that's multi-protocol BGP, let me grab a new color. This is going to be customer A. This is going to be customer B, right? So each of these is going to be in a VRF on router 5, and then router 2 is going to have our shared services. So customer A will be able to reach a loopback on router 2, and customer B will be able to reach a loopback on router 2. So that's a pretty good, I think that's a pretty good topology to lab. Shouldn't take too long, but starting from scratch, building your own requirements, doing the layer 2 from the ground up, doing the IP addressing from the ground up, it just takes a while. It just takes a while. It'd be nice to have someone pre-build all of it for you, but if you want pre-built labs, you got to pay a vendor for them. That's why the vendors are out there making good quality labs, and that's why they cost what they cost, because it takes time to work through these skill sets and build templates and make sure everything works right. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to wrap up for the night. It is late for me. It is nearly 1 a.m. I have to go to bed. I still have to work tomorrow. And tomorrow will be a setup day, a setup for our troubleshooting lab number 3 from the INE CCIE workbook. And I hope that I can get some major labbing in tomorrow night. And I don't know if I will, but I hope that I can. So shout outs to all the streamers out there. Everyone seems to be doing a really awesome job pushing out some fresh content and really exploring the 100 Days of Labbing journey. It's really, really awesome to see a couple other folks out there hammering it out. Really, really cool stuff. I'm deathly frightened of the fact that I'm almost halfway. And I figured by the halfway point I would be, I'm trying to think of the words. I would know where I am by the halfway point. Kind of like when you're running around a track, at high school or something, and When you get halfway around the track, you know whether or not you got what it takes and you're ready to finish. And I don't know if I have what it takes at this point to make an attempt at the CCIE lab near the end of this journey. But I got to keep moving. I still have more than 50 days. So there's a lot to learn. There's a whole bunch of analogies out there that have been used to describe, but the bottom line of it is the more you know, the more you learn what you don't know, and that is 100% true for your CCIE studies. The more you read these books, the more you do the labs, the more you talk to other people in the community and other resources, the more you realize what you don't know. And that's the scary part, is knowing that you have to be ready for an expert level exam, which should encompass, the highest skills and walking into it knowing that you only know a small fraction of all of the networking knowledge that's out there. It's pretty intimidating. It is pretty intimidating. But I'm not going to let that slow me down. I'm just recognizing the fact that there's more that I don't know than I do know. So I just have to recognize that and know that we just have to keep grinding it out, guys. Keep grinding it out. Put the time in every day. Put your time in. And for anyone who's doing a journey, make sure you keep track of your hours. I think that has been very helpful for me. To document my journey, and to also at the end of it be able to sort of look back and analyze how much time did I put in. Was it good time? Was it was I just sitting around browsing Twitter all night, or was I actually studying and actually putting that time in? So make sure you keep track of your time and your hours, and I think it's something that can really help people who soon choose to join the journey, or soon choose to push towards a CCIE or any other certification, gets to really understand the amount of time that it takes, that you put into it, and the kind of results you can get out of it. So that's all for today. I will do another vlog tomorrow night. Tomorrow night will be a night of labbing, but it will be after I prep my lab for Sunday, because that's very important. And then we'll do some studying and labbing, and maybe we'll finish up this topology, and maybe I'll do a once-over. If you want to see me do a once-over on this lab, or you're interested about this lab or topologies like it, join us in the Discord server. There's a link in the description below. It's the Land Tamers Discord server, and we're in there always chatting. You can catch me at the 100 Days of Labbing channel, or the Routing and Switching channel, or anywhere in there. Or you can leave me a comment below. Thanks.